My name is Doug Ellison. I am an assistant professor in the physical education department at Kent State University.
All right. Research has found that there is a low enrollment of female students in physical education courses. Why do you think this?
Well, without having any, specific research background in the area, just from my experience as a physical education teacher, now training physical education teachers, I would think it might be the way physical education has been over a long time period in public schools and private schools for that matter, where it was more maybe gender discriminatory in some of the practices that physical education teachers would hold or have, or even the females that were in physical education roles, there might be a perception, maybe it's from experience, from movies, television, whatever it may be, and potentially that could dissuade some females from the profession.
Okay. So why is female students still affected in physical education classes, even with a female teacher?
Well, potentially within teacher education, you spend 13 years of your childhood growing up watching teachers teach, whether it's a math teacher, science teacher, or physical education teacher teach. And although you go to a university and you're trained for 3 to 5 years on best practice, maybe even about some gender exclusion and how we should not be doing those things in physical education, when young people, male and female, become teachers after going through the process of teacher education, a lot of times, and the research shows this, they revert back to their own experiences. And unintentionally, perhaps, the females are portraying some of those habits that they had as teachers, even though maybe one of the reasons they became a teacher was to overcome some of those bad practices that they experienced, which could exclude gender, boys and girls.
Okay. Next question is, teachers usually hand the plans off to a group of kids in a classroom. However, if there's athletes or more skillful kids in the classroom, they seem to take over the plan. How can a teacher, PE teacher specifically, ensure that not only females but also unskilled students are involved in making the plans?
There are several pedagogical or teaching strategies that can be used, and one would be, and this would be getting to know the makeup of your class. Do you have more athletes, both male and female, and how is it going to best accomplish your learning outcomes that you have for students? We were just actually in a class where some peers were teaching, and they asked if you'd like to do a competitive activity based on these skills we're teaching, come down to this, and they didn't exclude on male or female. There were actually some females that chose to do the competitive side, and there were males that were in the non-competitive side. So by offering that choice, you're giving a comfort level to students who are in the class that may otherwise take a back seat to some of the more skilled students who are in the class. So it just gives the opportunity for learning to occur and more feedback, so a teacher could maybe focus more attention on the less skilled males and females and allow a little more freedom to the more skilled who may understand the structure of the task and activity.
Okay. Research has indicated that most females feel more comfortable in a single gender class. Do you agree with this or disagree?
Well, again, that comes down to a personal preference and choice. I know the research, that's one thing. They also say separating isn't a good thing, but as a teacher, you need to know what's best for your students, and how do you know? You ask them. How are we going to be able to accomplish these goals? What makes you more comfortable? Getting to know. I like the competitive, non-competitive aspect, because then it doesn't, a lot of times when you split up gender, I've seen it before, they just assume that the males are high skilled and the female are lower skilled, and that's not correct at all. In my experience as a physical education teacher, there were lots of times that the female students were as or more skilled than the male students. So I wouldn't, if someone is doing that practice, I'd want to know the reasons behind that and their philosophy as to why that works. If it's what's best for the community and the schools, and you have support, then they've done their research. But if they're just doing it because it is easier for them and there's no real learning outcome and the students aren't enjoying it, then I'm not for that at all.
All right. Any other feedback or advice you want to give to students or PE teachers in the future?
I'm glad that you're doing this, because now that I have this position at Kent State, I'm working with someone who is internationally known, discussing these issues with research and her best practice. So I'm learning a lot on ways that I can incorporate it in my instruction and my courses so that future physical education teachers can at least understand maybe biases they have to gender or other areas, or skilled, low skilled, and start navigating through that and serve students better, where we're not excluding anyone based on anything in our classes, but including them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.